very much. Good seeing you, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Neil.
Chuck Schumer going after Facebook's co-founder, but not the one with the hoodie, the one trying to save his money. Senator Schumer and others looking to punish Eduardo Saverin for giving up his U.S. citizenship to, the senator says, avoid paying taxes from Facebook's big IPO. Lenore Hawkins says instead of focusing on one guy, Washington should figure why so many of them are leaving in the first place. She's joined by Jonathan Hoenig and Rick Unger. So, Lenore, you think Chuck Schumer is missing the real problem here? Explain.
Absolutely. Well, let's look at the facts. Last year, 1,780 people voluntarily renounced their citizenship, compared to 235 in 2008. And that doesn't include all of those who just quietly stuck off the grid. To criticize Eduardo and others like him is to assume that government has some sort of a permanent claim on one's asset. It's the fiscal equivalent of blaming the victim. You have to assume that government gets a permanent claim on your assets, which makes us all slaves and the product of our labor merely rented to us for as long as the government sees fit. With all these people renouncing their citizenship, clearly we have a tax code that is deemed onerous. Rather than that, how about having a tax code that attracts entrepreneurs, attracts investors, rather than having one that is so painful, people are willing to give up their citizenship?
Jonathan?
Well, I agree. I mean, the fact that Chuck Schumer would call this the Expatriate Act, Neil, I think is actually deplorable. I mean, it equates patriotism with self-sacrifice for government, in this case for Chuck Schumer, as was pointed out, that government knows the right way to invest the assets they actually make yourself. It's pure collectivism, and I don't blame individuals for wanting to leave the United States, given the onerous taxes and regulation, and flee towards places like Singapore, which are known to be even more business-friendly than the U.S.
You know, the dirty little secret, Rich, on Saverin, if I'm reading this right, he had sort of announced a lot of this a year ago. Now, obviously, many could argue cynically that the wheels were in motion. He knew a big offering was coming, so let me try to save my taxes now. But in the interim, he was doing everything you do to pay your taxes here and do all of that. And he had complained about more regulations and about, you know, cross-world investing that were making it very difficult for him to do that as an American citizen. He is not the first guy I've heard say that.
No, we have one of the most onerous tax codes
Rick,
in the
I'm
world,
sorry,
and
it's
our
for Rick.
regulations.
I didn't mean, Rick, and I will get to you on that, but Rick, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I honestly can't believe that anybody would defend this guy, especially when you know his story. Look, when Eduardo was a little weasel back in Brazil, he was the target of a kidnapping threat. What did his parents do? They took him from where he was in danger and brought him to the United States where he would be safe. We welcomed him. We gave him citizenship. We gave him an education. And you know what else we did? We made the jurisprudence system available to him when the other weasels tried to steal his money. How does he repay us? He takes his $68 million in taxes that he doesn't want to pay, and he flees to another country. How do you defend that kind of behavior? And how do you blame that on the government?
Well, whether he did out of just selfish reasons or not, in the end, whether he feels because of that he owes a lifetime of paying higher taxes in this country, I guess I don't understand, Lenore, where the obligation comes to do that. I understand perfectly well what Rich is saying, but I'm addressing more the folks like him who bolt for far more basic reasons. It's a pain in the ass to do business here, and a regulatory nightmare to do business here.
So we should all just leave. We should all just take all the benefits and then split
I'm just
when we
saying
make a lot of
we're
money.
focused on this one guy who, Rich, careful. We're focused on this one guy who, for a variety of reasons, might be everything you say he is, but we're ignoring the long conga line behind him of others who similarly cashed out because they think it's a pain in the butt.
Demonizing Eduardo is just being intellectually lazy. It's not about demonizing an individual. There's clearly a problem with our tax code when it induces people to leave for more attractive places. We have to compete for capital
to
in
Rick's
this world.
point, do you think there's a certain obligation some have then to, look, we know it's a screwed up system. We know you're paying a little bit more. But after all we've done for your ungrateful hiney, you should stay here.
Yeah.
Capital can move.
What's the
We
argument?
need to be attractive.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
It's absurd, Neil. It's absurd, Neil. I mean, Facebook team are wealth creators. They haven't cost the United States anything. They've created productivity. They've created wealth in this country. As you pointed out, 1,000 new millionaires in California today. I mean, compare that to Chuck Schumer. He's great at spending other people's money, not so good at actually creating it on his own.
Rich?
So how should we do this? We should adjust the tax code, turn around and ask the people who are going to make a lot of money, are you okay now? Will you stay here? Will you pay your taxes? And if they go, no, not quite good enough, not quite good enough, until we get to a point where they're satisfied, really?
Rick, have you ever gone to Basel, Switzerland? Have you ever gone to some of these ones? You would almost think they're New York and yodeling there. The fact is, I mean, all these great minds we used to have here, for a variety of reasons, are there. Now, that's great for the Swiss. I love the Swiss, but I want them here. And when a lot of them leave, well, wait a minute. When a lot of them leave, you got to ask yourself the question, whatever your pride, and I understand it. I don't advise this. You got to ask, why the hell are so many people leaving?
We're no longer attractive.
Go ahead, Rick.
There are tax exiles everywhere. We all know that. It's not just here. But this goes so far. And, you say we're picking on this one person. Have you ever seen a greater poster boy for what's wrong with this kind of a behavior? I mean, he wasn't even born here. We welcomed him in. He had all the benefits, and then as soon as it went well, he split.
You're back to this one guy.
Make a bigger point. Not be honestly.
John, final word.
Well, how about this? Well, maybe a more productive result would be to cut taxes on people making $100 million or more, Neil, because the $100 million they've made because they've actually created something, created a value. In the case of Facebook, that 500 million people enjoy every day. Most of them don't even pay a penny for it. So, yes, let's cut taxes for high producers, bring more of them to this country, and the pie grows for all involved.
All right, guys.
I have no objection to having that discussion.
All right.
But you don't
I have no
leave.
objection to doing a show out of Basel, Switzerland either, but I digress. Meanwhile, 30 minutes from now, another senator is livid about where Sovereign is living. But Marco Rubio isn't mad at the face.
These orders. So call 1-800-712-3608 and find out about free shipping. That's 1-800-712-3608. Call now.
If you're driving a GM car, you better hope it's a new one, because the company that got a huge bailout ain't going to bail you out, even if the older car is defective. Turns out GM is fighting to avoid paying punitive damages on crashes involving those older models, saying that was the old GM. It's not responsible because now it's the new GM, formed after the bailout of bankruptcy. Jonathan Hoenig, you're not too keen on that.
I'm not keen on it at all, Neil. In fact, I consider GM itself to be really an illegitimate company right now. It's still significantly owned by shareholders and also owned by the federal government and taxpayers, for that matter, none of which you actually wanted to invest in the company itself. And I tell you, I mean, taxpayers have paid both ways from Adam with this company, not only in terms of the ongoing bailout, but in these ongoing liabilities and potential liabilities coming from incidents like this. It's a big negative for the economy and for the country.
Rick, what do you think?
Believe it or not, I actually kind of agree with Jonathan, but let's not tie this to the bailout. This issue has nothing to do with the bailout. This is actually a problem between, it's a conflict between the bankruptcy court and state laws. Bankruptcy court has said punies are not on the table. State law says they should be. This woman's lawyer who's removed the punitive damages from his claim thinks she needs to get a new lawyer. But Jonathan's right. Punies should be on the table.
Lenore.
Absolutely. Chrysler was able to get away with removing their liabilities. GM agreed in June of 2009 to not take their past liabilities off the table after I think it was about a dozen state attorneys general fought back. So they've left it on the table. Now they're just trying to use the shield of the federal government and that threat to protect themselves.
Well, technically, they would have an argument, right? Wouldn't they technically have an argument? It's a new company now. It's not the old company, right?
But they agreed to keep them on. In bankruptcy, they agreed to keep on the liabilities.
All right. And Rick, you think they should honor that, the law notwithstanding?
Right. But it's not the bailout. It's the bankruptcy court.
Okay. All right. Jonathan?
Well, you know, it's almost a question of don't mess with the mob. But this isn't any normal company, Neil. This is a company that still is owned by taxpayers, the government, and also heavily influenced by taxpayers. And, you know, the government is taking credit for the GM bankruptcy. Meanwhile, taxpayers are owed billions of dollars. And, in fact, it's the very nature in which the way that bankruptcy law works that's been usurped in this country. Bondholders got screwed. Unions got all the upside.
In the end, they'll probably find a middle ground with this. But companies, I don't think, Lenore, are going to be able to run away from obligations.
Absolutely not. Not unless you've gotten that cleared in bankruptcy.
Right. Rick?
They didn't get it cleared.
Right.
Got to honor the law.
That's exactly right. I mean, I'm a little careful here because somebody keeps wanting to tie this to the federal government. This is bankruptcy law. This has nothing to do with bailouts and who owns the stock. It would be just as wrong if it was a private company that the U.S. government had nothing to do with.
Well, that's Jonathan. He
He
just drags us all down. That's just Jonathan.
I know.
But Rick,
It's
you
a
gotta,
terrible, terrible
Rick,
thing.
you gotta admit.
Thank you all very much. Well, the war on women that just boomeranged.
In 2000, the U.S. national debt was $5.6 trillion, and gold was $272 an ounce.